Evendale, Ohio. My mom had to work overtime in nursing homes in Southwest Ohio to make ends meet and pay off our home loan. So I understand that hardship is not a choice, but victimhood is a choice. And we choose to be victorious in the United States of America. You know what, if I was giving advice to those workers, I would say go picket in front of the White House in Washington, D.C. That's really where the protest needs to be. Disastrous economic policies that have driven
Rumble needs to get their shit together.
Prices that have driven up,
I mean, my goodness,
interest rates and mortgage rates. At the same time, wages is remaining stagnant.
Oh my God.
What we need is to deliver economic growth in this country. Unlock American energy. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear energy. Put people back to work by no longer paying them more money to stay at home. Stabilize the U.S. dollar itself. And rescind a majority of those
Can somebody run on the platform to make Rumble get their fucking shit together and get better servers? Because this is ridiculous. Please.
Constitutional federal
my goodness.
Regulations that are hampering
I hope everyone's doing okay tonight.
Our economy.
I mean, what the fuck? And why is this in Spanish? What's happening?
American exceptionalism. And that's not a democratic
oh my God.
Vision or a Republican vision. That is an American vision that we embrace economic.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Capitalism is still the best.
It's the, oh my God.
System known to man. To lift us up from
where do I file a complaint?
Poverty, and we should not apologize for it. That's what it means to be an American.
Wow, it'd be great if we could get this in actual full answers, you know, like the servers actually worked for Rumble. This is when, you know, these alternative platforms just become so like subpar. Ridiculous.
The CEOs of General Motors.
I mean, catch up. God. I'm about to just end it all.
Listen, I look forward
every time this shit happens.
The next president of the United States. I will also say, I know America can do for anyone what she's done for me. It's why we're focusing
oh my freaking
on restoring hope, creating opportunities, and protecting the America we all love. Growing up in a single-parent household, I wondered if the American dream would work for a kid in the inner city. I've got good news for every single child.
Oh, really?
The inner cities of Chicago or the rural parts of Iowa. America and the dream, it is alive, it is well.
What is this facial hair Tim Scott's trying?
And it is healthy. God bless these.
Dude, Rumble, you guys, this is killing right now. I mean, were they not prepared?
I think we need to look at exactly what happened. Biden showed up on that picket line, but why are those workers actually there? It's because of all of the spending that he has pushed through in the economy that's raised the inflation. So when you look at the fact that we are paying higher gas prices, higher grocery prices, $7,000 more a year for families. What we need to do is I came out with an economic plan.
Wow.
Eliminate the gas and diesel tax so that they have more money in their pocket. Let's focus on going after middle America and cutting taxes for middle America and
Going
collapsing
after
those
middle
brackets. Let's get rid of unfair distortions like the state and local tax that they give to wealthy people in blue states and not paid by red states. And let's make sure we make the small business taxes permanent. They only made those temporary. They made the corporate taxes permanent. Let's focus on what it takes to get more cash in the pockets of workers. That's when we'll be able to deal with strikes like this, not sitting on a picket line like Joe Biden is.
Thank you, Governor Haley. We have other questions to get to about economy.
Okay, ma'am. Great.
Allow me to.
I just have to. I'm sorry.
Allow me to.
I'm sorry. I have to jump in
Jump in there.
because we're missing the point,
Oh,
and
here
every
he
other
goes.
network is missing the point. The reason why people are striking in Detroit is
Dude, Rumble.
because Joe Biden's
Rumble
interference
sucks.
with capital markets and with free markets. The subsidies were subsidizing
I just know they're shitting a brick right now because they fail every time when they get these big
The automakers.
live events. Stupid at this point.
and we're subsidizing the cars and a particular kind of car, not every car. Particularly, we're subsidizing
Oh my God.
electric vehicles. And when you decide that we're going to take all of your taxpayer money
This is fucking painful. I just.
take $1 billion
Okay.
subsidize a certain type of vehicle.
Oh my God, dude. Wow. I mean, defund Rumble. Like, this shit pisses me off. What even is this?
And the batteries come
Cool. Awesome. Great. Cool fucking
China.
stream,
China
Rumble.
controls
You guys are doing sick right now.
$85% of the rare earth minerals.
I mean, I just don't understand. I'm gonna try to pull it up on Steven Crowder because I know he's streaming it. I just don't want to watch it on his because I don't like to hear his commentary over the debate.
They're called rare earth.
But this is fucking ridiculous. Let's see what they're talking about.
Reckless behavior.
Translator.
They borrowed, they printed, they spent, and now you're paying more for everything. They are the reason for that. They have shut down our national sovereignty by allowing our border to be wide open. So please spare me the crocodile tears for these people. They need to change what's going on. And where's Joe Biden? He's completely missing in action from leadership. And you know who else is missing in action?
Don't say Trump.
Donald Trump is missing in action.
Oh,
He should be
together?
on the stage tonight.
Drink.
He owes it to you.
Oh, really?
Why would he go on the stage?
Hey,
he has nothing to gain.
That's two people that have gone after him.
Gerald was right.
Set the stage for the
All right.
inflation that we have
And
now.
the
I can tell
front
you
runner.
this, as governor of Florida, we cut taxes, we ran surpluses, we've paid down over 25% of our state debt, and I vetoed wasteful spending when it came to my desk. And as your president, when they send me a bloating spending bill that's going to cause your prices to go up, I'm going to take
the
out
pen?
this veto
Put down the
pen
pen.
and I'm going to send it right
Oh
back
my
to them.
God.
Oh, that's the veto pen?
What a cringe lord.
Christy said veal pen?
Yeah.
moms and dads
They
and
do the thumb
Americans,
thing?
and I know
What
that you've been
is the
thinking about
facial
it
hair,
because
Steven Crowder?
child care costs, they are up. They're
Here's the thing,
topping
DeSantis.
$10,000 per month.
Once you start that now you have to respond when Trump attacks you in the media. You can't say I'm above it. No. Now you've entered into that. And by the way, I respect it. But you've got to be all in now. Otherwise, it's going to play against you. You're either all in or you're all out. It's not show friends. It's show business when you're doing these debates. But it doesn't end when the clock runs out tonight.
To broaden
Can I put that on a
eligibility for
t-shirt?
child care
Yeah,
assistance.
sure,
That
why not?
fell
I don't know
apart
what I
last
said.
year.
They're giving Tim Scott a lot of airtime.
The moms and dads out there who are worried.
Well, the guy
What can you
dunk.
tell them if you weren't
got
able to get it through
2.8,
the
like-
Congress? How could you do it as president?
Certainly one of the things I did as a member of Congress was to make sure that we protected the Head Start programs around the country, giving people the opportunity to pick and choose the place that they send their children. The challenges that we see today under the Biden administration is that the cost for daycare has gone over $15,000 per child. In the Build Back Broker plan, he called it
really?
the Build Back Better plan.
We get it.
Don't explain the joke.
$29,000.
Nice guy, but that's rough.
That's what I'm
Fix
saying.
that problem
just
is to
said that.
make sure that we
I don't know any
actually
brother that's
cut
not funny.
taxes
I'm saying
and
you
give
just-
more Americans their money back.
That's my point.
When I helped
Ruined
write
it.
the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act,
He's the
actually
Did him.
lowered the
Explain.
He's the only
Jokes.
black guy in a foot race who needs a Head Start program.
at the federal level for dual income households by 60%. Then we went a step further. We doubled the child tax credit and made it refundable. By doing that, more parents had more resources to make the decisions how to take care of their family. The one thing we should do is let the American
feels
people
like he's getting more time.
keep
Yeah, well, he's at
their
2.8%, so he has $38 million of cash on hand. Come on, Tim, make it rain. Get some spinners.
And
need to
never
jump
going to the
because
border.
Ilya mischaracterized a part of my view. I think this artificial division is unhelpful in our party. The real divide is not between the Republicans on this stage. And in the Reagan Library, I want to say these are good people
Reagan.
on this stage.
Oh, we have to
real
finish our
divide
drink,
is
Reagan.
between the
Oh, no.
majority of us in this country
Vivek,
who love the
come on,
United
bring the
States of
energy,
America.
please.
and
By the
Make it
way,
interesting.
he listened to some
founding
advisors because you saw his polls go down a little bit after the last debate, and now he's cozying up to them. Last time he was attacking
Yay.
everybody. Now he's like, everyone here's a good guy.
Yeah,
I'm just glad to be
it's
here.
horrible.
How'd they go down? Probably because he had the highest right after he was.
Yeah,
And
he
then-
he kind of had a rebound, and then he went
Oh
down.
yeah, and then the mainstream media tore him a new asshole.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah.
Immigration and the border.
Then he hits
we need
the
somebody to
body.
make this interesting.
Child care. We have.
I think
Somebody
go
needs
on.
to do
You have
something.
Sir, you have less than 1%. Shut up.
These questions, we're going to get to you. We're going to come back to you. There's a lot of time.
Even the Latino's like, I can't believe you don't shut up.
Cut his mic, please.
You're always talking with your scary eyebrows. They make me have to hide my children.
What is that
Count
facial
Dracula,
hair?
shut up.
Sir, we will get you some questions, but you're going to
So
have to let
Vivek
us
was
do
at the
one.
first debate, 7.2%. Now he's down to 5.1.
He's not stopping.
He's not.
You know, cut off the senator from Transylvania.
Ronald Reagan, I guess we all have to.
There you go.
Everyone finish your drink anyway, and then we need a
All right,
refill.
drinks. Refills, please.
Sometime back, they may have entered illegally.
Sir, be quiet. We need to roll this
2 years
package.
later,
Government is the problem.
President Reagan granted amnesty to nearly 3 million immigrants,
Yeah.
something
Oh,
no
boy.
Democrat or Republican president
I love how they cut off one of the debate participants to roll a clip of Ronald Reagan, who is a long dead person who was once president. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is so stupid
has done.
and boring.
Ronald Reagan's two biggest screw-ups were him basically opening up immigration the way he did and no-fault divorce in California, which he said.
But when you ran for president in 2016, you flipped.
Mild
saying immigrants
walk
should be
for president.
tracked like FedEx packages. Where do you stand now on a
what's
path
with the
to citizenship?
Hispanic lady?
Double down.
11 million
A path that
of
goes by,
undocumented
The
line
problem
at the
is that
buffet.
since no one has done anything since we first had this discussion 13 years ago, we're not in a position to be able to do any of that anymore. What we have to do now is first treat this like the law enforcement problem it is. Our laws are being broken every day at the southern border, every day. And Joe
Can
Biden
someone just
and his
answer
crew
yes?
is doing
I know.
nothing
Do you think we should track them like FedEx packages now? Yes, and I think you should put some makeup on your pigmentless clavicle.
We're gonna let it go. And
Oh my God.
we need to have a president. who
We
acts like
had
I
one
did as
that
governor.
controlled the border, and you don't like them. Shut your fat hole.
Foremost. And that means
Thank
what
you.
I'll
That
do
was a
on day
quote from
one
Lincoln.
is sign an executive order to send the National Guard
407 Hormel chilies ago.
to make sure that we stop the flow of fentanyl over the border,
Stop the flow of
but
heavy
also to
cream.
make sure
Yeah,
that we send a much different message.
He's used to flow stopping. His heart decided to cut that off about 8 years ago.
Jobs we have.
I hate this
but
guy with a
only if you
passion.
come here to follow the law, and only if you come here legally. If you come here illegally, we will apprehend you and we will send you back across the border from which you came. And the fact is that until we set a law and order agenda in this country, not only now but in the future, we won't.
I will
we
say
won't
I
be able
like
to
his
continue
answer,
this.
though. I like his
Well,
answer.
I'm going to say why it's bullshit.
It is
That's
bullshit.
exactly what Trump did, and he lost the election. So you think you're going to win with that strategy?
Yeah, well, he didn't do
lost the
enough. Donald
election,
Trump didn't do
did he?
enough with the border, I don't think.
Well,
He started it, though.
I
He was the
agree.
first guy to do anything.
Vivek said this week he's going to use the military. Came right out and said it.
Yeah, well.
So let's do it. Never mind the wall. We have flamethrowers, like I said, IEDs. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Oh, hey, look at that guy.
Joe Lewis.
Hey, buddy.
into the country on a daily basis. In fact, I believe we have a live picture of it tonight
at
that
this
is
shit.
happening
Ice cream
right
truck.
now, live. In the last decade, the
This
U.S.
is
has spent nearly
fucking,
$55 billion
ridiculous.
to address the root causes of migration.
The root
But
causes.
crime, poverty, and corruption, they
Waste of
persist,
fucking
and the
money.
number of migrants is only growing. Are we wasting our money?
Yes.
Well, what happens is when Joe Biden waved the green
Oh,
flag,
God.
it told everybody to come. And now we've seen 6 million people cross the border. We've had more fentanyl that have killed.
These people cannot help themselves but to give like a political response. You got to turn it around instead of just saying like, yes, we wasted our money. Yes, this is what we need to do. You have to say, oh, well, Joe Biden did it. Shut up and just fucking say what you plan to do and be real about it, because it's dripping with fakeness. All of these fake ass candidates' answers. It's really an insult, and this is so boring. Without Donald Trump at the debates, I mean, let's think back to the 2016 debates. I mean, those were epic. Those were, I mean, just a moment in time where it was extreme kick, and it's just like, we'll probably never get that back, and it really does make me sad.
Americans in the Iraq, Vietnam, or Afghanistan wars combined, we need to make sure that we are a country of laws. The second we stop being a country of laws, we give up everything this country was founded on. So we have to secure the border. The way we do that is, first of all, defund sanctuary cities. You see what's happening in Philadelphia right now. It's got to stop. We need to make sure we put 25,000 more Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job. I spent 400 miles down that border, and I'm telling you, Border Patrol agents aren't allowed to do their job. Let's go back to Remain in Mexico policy. Instead of catch and release, let's go to catch and deport.
What about
and
the
let's
aid that we've been? What about the aid that federal taxpayers are paying to deal with the root causes? It's not working.
No,
the
it's not
only
working.
aid that we should be spending right now is to secure the border, the southern border, the northern border, period.
You would cut
we
off
need
aid
to
to the
keep
region?
Americans
Yes.
safe, and right now Americans are not safe.
We don't
Only
like
when
Canada,
we fix
Stephen.
the immigration system, only when we get the border secure, should we ever look at putting any more money into this. Our money should be about keeping Americans safe. We're not doing that. Joe Biden's not doing that. And you mentioned Congress and shutting down government. I'll make it clear. We have to change the budget process in 4 years.
Totally different question,
in
ma'am.
40 years. Congress has only delivered a budget on time 4 times in 40 years. If they don't keep the
I'm
government
not
open,
putting
they
a
should
woman in charge of spending.
Come on.
Oh, for the love of Christ. That's
Cut off the charge of
how much did that top cost her? Come on, somebody's gay here. Raise your hand.
$12 billion
Just a numbers
to
game.
America just last year.
Welcome to the
They
rich and
signed
famous.
strategic partnerships with 7 countries,
your
including
Lifestyles of the second tier.
now include arms
Jesus,
sales
what's his problem?
and training
He's got
exercises.
to take a dump and he
Wasn't
can't.
taking a good one for 10 weeks.
With China, deepening ties with our southern neighbors.
Of course not. And the reason
No,
why
it's
we're in
not.
this mess is because elites in D.C. for far too long have chosen surrender over strength when it comes to the CCP. Some people in our country got rich, our industrial base got hollowed out, and they have been able to
Did we swap
build
out Nick's
the
drink?
second
No.
most powerful
No, I'm good.
military in the entire world.
You're
We need
supposed
a
to finish
totally new approach to China.
When's this guy
We are
gonna
gonna have
drop
real
out?
hard power in the Indo-Pacific, like Reagan, to deter their ambitions. We're going to have economic independence from China.
I'm not finishing my drink.
Decoupling our economy.
Just got
We are
thrown.
gonna
We
go
thought.
after them.
Yeah, we
Is that
can't
a bad
finish our-
idea?
Everyone, by the way, bring up the drinking game rules again for people who are watching right now. You're supposed to finish your drink every time they mention Reagan. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, does it say Trump is mentioned? Yeah. All right.
Let's put a hiatus on that rule.
Confucius Institutes. So you see a country in decline, our power's in decline. China's going to surpass us this decade, and if they do that, that's going to affect every single
Ginger
American
Snap's going
household.
crazy
As your
right now, I guarantee it.
I am not
Well,
going
have
to
him
let
send
that
it in
happen.
if there's something he
I'm
wants
gonna
to deal
reverse
with.
This country's
Hey,
decline.
just said
We
it.
are going to choose strength, not surrender when it comes to the CCP.
Why did he smile when he said that? He said, we're going to show strength, not surrender with the CCP.
He's such a weirdo.
You were snarling when they went to you, and you were smiling when you mentioned the CCP.
Let's see, his advisor told him to
Even
smile.
if the children are citizens of the United States,
like this
under what legal premise will you expel U.S. citizens?
So the first thing I want to say is I agree with everything the Republicans on the stage are.
That's
on the
a
right side
loaded
of this
question,
issue.
and it's dumb. If we can't expel people in sanctuary cities who are felons, convicted felons, we can't deport non-citizens from our prisons in certain instances. Let's not talk about the dreamers and the children and the anchor babies. Laser in on that question so that we get to the bottom of it and we can be honest about the conversation. Let's go to Jimmy Neutron. Photo negative.
About the Constitution and the 14th Amendment.
said something about
The difference
militarizing.
between me and them is I've actually read the 14th Amendment. What it says is that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the laws and jurisdiction thereof are citizens. So nobody believes that the kid of a Mexican diplomat in this country enjoys birthright citizenship. Not a judge or legal scholar in this country
Now
will
look,
disagree with
DeSantis
me.
is snarling now, but he was smiling when he mentioned CCP. What's up with his face?
He hates Indians.
Then neither
must be
does the kid of an illegal migrant who broke the law to come here. And as the father of two sons, it is hard for me to look them in the eye and say, you have to
In the
follow
third
the
eye?
law when our own government fails to follow
work,
its
Slumdog.
own
All
laws.
right.
That's how we really go the distance and solve this problem and restore
I
the
hate how
rule
much
of
of
law
myself
in
I
the
see in you.
United States of America.
Oh, wait till
Because
you
that
get
is
into
the
a
6
crystal
months.
ball. You're going to hang yourself.
This fucking
You
spiels.
oppose ending birth
He's got to
control.
lower his hair, first of all.
What does
Yeah.
Mr. Ramaswamy have wrong on that issue?
There's no doubt the fact.
She's
that
very
when you
pretty.
Look at the Constitution and the 14th Amendment. It was
Back to
certainly
this
written
guy.
as it relates to slavery, not as it relates to illegal immigration. It's been applied to illegal immigration. So the challenge that we face is, in fact, one that has to do with whether or not.
By the way,
people that
you
come
guys
here-
can comment. We'll be taking your chat on Mug Club. I think that Donald Trump is looking at Tim Scott for VP. Just my
Ew.
thought.
Can I ask why?
Oh, God, please
Because he's been
no.
very complimentary of Tim Scott, and
Please
Tim
no.
Scott has been really kind of laying off going after Donald Trump, and because he's a black guy.
Please no.
It was designed for slavery and not for illegal immigration.
Okay,
I'll
you
go
said
one
that
step
again. Let me
further.
go quickly. Lane the Brain did come in. According to Bloomberg, China wouldn't overtake us until at the earliest the mid-2040s, and then it's only expected to be for a minute. They probably pull even and then fall back behind us.
You know what I miss? I miss no longer fearing China as the next great superpower when Donald Trump was president. It was like the paper tiger was exposed.
Exactly.
Now we're back to,
It's the next
I have an
side
uncle who works
profile.
like in finance. He's like, oh, China is where it is. I'm going, no, you know what? I don't believe that because they're going to have a revolution at some point.
And their economy's
They have some
bombing right
issues.
now, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. All right, go back to these guys. They're arguing.
I want to respond. These are good people who are tainted by a
shut up?
broken system, and it's not the fault
I think you
of
said
anybody who's
Bob
involved.
Basil.
Some of us are
Here's-
tainted.
But the bottom line is when you said
excuse
Bob
me.
Basil.
Don't
Thank you
don't
for
address
speaking
them.
while I'm interrupting.
Just
While I'm speaking.
answer.
You said
If
Bob
I may
Basil.
finish,
Some of
if
us
I may
are
finish.
challenged.
Tim, shut it.
No, I think you should let it fly.
Gentlemen, you'll have your turn.
One of the challenges.
So listen up.
Just say it, Vivek. Just
Look
say
at
it.
this.
Between
This is what diversity gets you. A food fight.
If I may address.
Holding Joe Biden.
There should be all white people up there. Am I right,
Okay,
folks?
wait. So Asa mentioned not
kidding.
hearing
Relax.
time? That's
No one
funny.
can
He's Sicilian. He can say it. There's a black man hiding in his woodshed somewhere down the.
Every other CEO expanded into the Chinese market. You know what I did with my first company? We opened a subsidiary in China. But you know what I did that
Where'd
was
you open your
different than
call
every
center?
other company?
Oh
We got
my
the hell
God.
out of there. And when I
Told me how to
started
get a
my
load
next
out of a
company,
mouse net.
Strive, right when it, no, that's years ago.
Just keep.
Right when I started my next
Just keep
company,
talking.
Strive to compete against BlackRock. Excuse me. To compete against BlackRock, I made a commitment that we would never do business in China. And I will say something.
I
Yes.
think you have more than time to explain your point.
Well, if I
Don't
was
tell me
interrupted
you-
by a lot of
Oh,
people
bitch,
here, and I
you
want to be
shut your mouth.
respectful because I believe these
You were
are good
respectful
people,
last debate.
but I do not.
You
believe
shut
Hey,
your
Ms.
mouth.
Vertiglio, shut up.
Yeah, thank you. Literally, what the fuck, ma'am? Are you even from this country? Are you even a citizen?
I wish
Hey,
you.
Hilton May.
He's making a mistake right now.
From one admirer of Ronald Reagan to another.
Don't find common ground.
I disagree with everyone in this room. The fact that Tim Scott is doing this a little bit, right? That's his natural. Let it fly. Look, he just rolled his eyes. He's like, this is some bullshit. That's Tim Scott. Show the real Tim Scott.
No, I agree with that. I'm saying that if Vivek wants to win, ignore him and make your point.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
exactly.
only
But I like that Tim Scott is being a little bit more real there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back.
Trump-Pence administration canceled
They're all
DACA,
going after him.
which put the legal status of
you just
600,000
ruined that for
dreamers
this guy?
in the hands of the courts. Dreamers
Mike
work
Pence, I
and they
forgot
pay
you were
taxes.
here.
It's like cutting away from Macho Man Randy Savage to show a jobber like Jean-Pierre Lafitte. Like, why? Go back to Pence.
Look at Joe Pesci on the
First, let me say I'm glad Vivek pulled out of his business deal in 2018 in China. That must have been about the time you decided to start voting in presidential elections. So we're nice to have you
Again,
participate
going
in
after
elections.
Vivek.
So let me speak to this issue. Number one, I negotiated the Remain in Mexico policy.
Yeah, I guess maybe you need to hook some of your electrodes up to your own head because you're coming across as bitchy and gay, Pence.
It's just so.
And despite
so
what's said here today, we reduced illegal immigration and asylum abuse by 90%. And as President of the United States, I can do it again. And the truth is, we need to fix a broken immigration system, and I'll do that as
how many
well.
times have we
First and foremost, a nation without borders is not a nation.
Thanks,
and we
Ray.
have to secure the southern border of the United States of America.
And guys,
I know,
I'm sorry to subject you to this. Like, this is useless lip service. This is the kind of crap that people don't care about. When we go to commercial, we have a 7+1. This is why we try and make it entertaining for you. You can use the hashtag Crowder Debate Night. You can get $10 off.
Yeah.
Mug Club, you get Nick DiPaolo every day, 5 p.m. Eastern. You get Alex Jones on Friday. You'll get the Hodge Twins. You get Brian Callen. You get our additional Friday.
Okay, great. You know, it is boring and all, but I didn't. This is why. Okay. I hate this so much. Rumble is such a piece of shit. Like, they need to get their stuff together. Big time. What is this, a commercial now? A fucking commercial? Really? Okay, so while they're there, let's take a look at Trump's speech from earlier. He was speaking to the, what is this, Drake? What's happening? Okay, he was speaking to the auto workers that are on strike. Let's just look at a piece of this. Okay, thank you. Love you.
Great people. Here in Michigan and across the country tonight, there are countless thousands of auto workers and skilled tradesmen worried about the future and what the future holds for themselves and for their incredible families. I want to begin this evening by saluting these truly great Americans who do not get the credit they deserve. You don't get the credit they... Now they want to go all electric and put you all out of business. You know that, right? To the welders, assembly line workers, machine operators, forklift drivers, pipe fitters, tool and die makers, mechanics, electricians, technicians, and journeymen. We love being with you, and we love...
Oh, it's from this other stupid ass stream that's not working? Cool. Thanks. Go to hell.
Being with you right in your environment. You built this country, you love this country, and you are the ones that make our country run. You know that, right? Before I stepped into the political arena 7 years ago, I spent my whole life working alongside of Americans just like you. Spent a lot of time with you.
That one lady's amped
I
up.
spent a lot of time with you and people just like you. Now, I put everything on the line to fight for you. I've risked it all to defend working class from the corrupt political class that has spent decades sucking the life, wealth, and blood out of this country. That's why I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for a revival of economic nationalism and our automobile manufacturing lifeblood, which they're sucking out of our country. I want a future that protects American labor, not foreign labor. A future that puts American dreams over foreign profits. And a future that raises American wages, that strengthens American industry, that builds national pride, and that defends this country's dignity, not squanders it all to build up foreign countries that hate us. And you know where they are? They're located all over the world, but they're mostly on the other side of the world. We don't want that. Under crooked Joe Biden, you have none of this. You have none of the things we want.
Getting booed. Imagine a black woman being loud at an event. I mean, who would have thought that would happen? Let's see. Are they back yet? I think they are. I'm like also trying to watch it on TV to keep an eye out. But this Rumble stream, I mean, major fucking tomatoes on this shit. This is the worst. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Rumble, but I mean, they seriously need to get it together. I just don't even know anymore. Because what the hell? Nope, still not working.
Robberies, they're all surging. Progressive prosecutors were elected by their constituents, and they can't be fired by a president. So what would you do to end the revolving door of criminality?
Well, look, Dana, I'm the only one on this stage who's done it. For 7 years, I ran the 5th largest office in this country, at the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey, and we set records for the number of prosecutions that we brought that still have not been broken. And the reason was that we went after the crime that was affecting people's lives. And as president, I will appoint an attorney general and instruct that attorney general that you are to put all the resources that are necessary to bring our cities back under control. The fact is, they will be stretched. There's no doubt about that. But that's what they take the job for, because they love the idea of enforcing the law. We've got to bring law and order back to this country, and not just in our cities, but we need law and order back everywhere. We need law and order back in our suburbs. People are threatened there. We need it in our rural areas. People feel threatened there. And we need it in Washington, D.C. also. And Donald Trump should be here to answer for that, but he's not. And I want to look at that camera right now and tell you, Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching.
Oh, okay? Really, girl?
And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and
oh my lord,
because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because
God, this is brutal. Okay, really?
GOP. No, is
the crop. Ooh, yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? I guess I'm just gonna, put this stream out of its misery because it's a rough one, guys. It's rough. But yeah. If anybody watched this, thank you so much. Let's see. Is this something? Because I just don't want to watch like somebody else. But if they're just streaming it, I would love to see that.
You can't help yourself. Okay. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
All right. I want to ask about Governor DeSantis. You fired a couple of prosecutors in your state, but as president, you would not have the ability to do that. How do you think about dealing with the root causes of crime, especially this revolving door of the criminals that just get out and come back and commit another crime?
Well, the crime in these cities is one of the strongest signs of the decaying of America. We can't be successful as a country if people aren't even safe to live in places like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Just being in Southern California over the last couple of days, my wife and I have met 3 people who have been mugged on the street, and that would have never happened 10 or 20 years ago. In Florida, we back the blue. We support the men and women of law enforcement. They are keeping us safe. We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. And yes, when I had 2 progressive prosecutors that weren't following the law in Florida, I removed them from their posts, and the people of Florida are safer as a result of it. As president, I will use the Justice Department to bring civil rights cases against all of those left-wing Soros-funded prosecutors. We're not going to let them get away with it anymore. We want to reverse this country's decline. We need to choose law and order over rioting and disorder.
On a related subject, Governor Haley, there's a nationwide policing shortage. Retirements are up. Recruitment is in the tank, morale is at a record low. 3 years ago, you signed a pledge to support law enforcement. Now, pledges are a nice idea, but what's your actual plan to get more police on our streets?
Well, and I actually did it in South Carolina, too. You know, what we knew in South Carolina was you take care of those who take care of you. We have to start taking care of law enforcement, but it's not just taking care of them with words. It's making sure that you also follow through on what they do. Right now, we have a lot of stolen guns on the street. Well, these law enforcement officers, they arrest these people, and then they go and they're let out the very next day. So law enforcement feels like no one has their back. We have to start prosecuting according to the law. We have to make sure we have the backs of law enforcement, and we have to make sure that we're a country of law and order. But I want to go back to China because I don't think we spent enough time on that. Right now, we have to look at what government's doing to hurt us against China, too. You have a company, U.S. Antibiotics, that produces amoxicillin, the #1 antibiotic that we need. And right now, there is a company in Bristol, Tennessee, that produces that. Yet our federal government only gets it from China. We need to be focusing on companies that produce in America and supporting those companies that produce in America, not companies that are helping China.
Governor, we will be talking foreign policy later. Delia?
Yes. Thank you, Stuart. We're going to stay in the topic of crime because it affects all of us. Governor Burgum, for the first time ever, a Univision poll found that mass shootings and gun safety are one of the most important issues for Latino voters. Mental health concerns are not unique to the United States, but gun violence is. What is your specific plan to curb gun violence?
Well, first we need to know, understand is I think that the liberal left seems to be just completely bent on prosecuting law-abiding citizens that are gun owners, because every solution they have to this is take away the Second Amendment rights of Americans, and somehow that's going to solve the problem. But all these cities that we're talking about that you showed the videos of tonight, they have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. So we know that that's not what's working. But what we have to do is get back to the core issues about the family. We have to get back to behavioral health and mental health. We've got to get back to actually enforcing the laws these people talked about, and like we've done in North Dakota, where we've got the goal and we're on the track to be the most military-friendly state in the nation. We've got the most military and the most support of what we're doing in terms of law enforcement, because the morale is down because we've been defunding the police, because they've been attacked in the press. The police have become the bad guys when they're the one. There's all these jobs available in America. Why would you be a policeman if people don't even respect them? Every time I see a policeman, the first thing I say is thank you. And so does everybody else in my family and most of the people in our state, because they know we have to respect the people that are out there defending us every single day.
Can I answer the question on mass shootings?
Mr. Ramaswamy, according to Customs and Border Protection, about 90% of fentanyl is seized at official border crossings, and 57% of the smugglers are U.S. citizens. How would you stop fentanyl brought into the country, mostly by U.S. citizens, through ports of entry?
There's two sides to this, and we have to be very honest about it. One is we do have to seal that southern border. Building the wall is not enough. They're building cartel-financed tunnels underneath that wall. Semi-trucks can drive through them. We have to use our own military to seal the Swiss cheese of a southern border. But we also have to be honest. There's a demand-side problem in this country, too, a mental health epidemic. I met family in Iowa. Two parents, Kathy and Derek. They lost their son, Sebastian, 17 years old. He bought Percocet on Snapchat, and then he died. Why did he die? Because it was laced with fentanyl. That is closer to bioterrorism, not a drug overdose. That is poisoning. So it is our job to make sure that never happens. But it's also our job to make sure that 17-year-olds don't turn to Percocet via Snapchat. We have to bring back mental health care in this country, not with pump and pharmaceuticals, but with faith-based approaches that restore purpose and meaning in the next generation of Americans. Many of them are getting it through social media. And this isn't a Republican point or a Democrat point, but if you're 16 years old or under, you should not be using an addictive social media product, period. This is something that we can both agree on, and we can revive both the mental health of this country while stopping the fentanyl epidemic that will kill more people this year than who died on 9/11. And I refuse to be a passive bystander sitting in the White House like the hollowed out husk of a current president we have. We will step up and address this problem to stand for Americans and our children.
Encouraging TikTok. Quit encouraging TikTok.
That is why, everything he said I agree with. That is why, as Commander-in-Chief, I'm going to use the U.S. military to go after the Mexican drug cartels. They are killing our people. And the stories that I've seen in Florida, we had an infant, 18 months, parents rented an Airbnb. And apparently the people that had rented it before were using drugs. The infant was crawling, the toddler was crawling on the carpet and ingested fentanyl residue and died. Are we just going to sit here and let this happen, this carnage happen in our country? I am not going to do that. So I guarantee you on day one, this border is going to be a day one issue for me as president. We're going to declare it a national emergency. Yes, we'll build the wall. We'll do remain in Mexico. But those Mexican drug cartels are going to be treated like the foreign terrorist organizations that they are.
President Pence. All right, Vice President Pence. We're going to move on to a different issue. Hold on, sir. Vice President Pence.
$5 billion.
Just last month, Vice President Pence, you said if elected, you would repeal all Obamacare mandates. However, you also made that same promise in 2016. And at that time, Trump-Pence had congressional majorities for at least the first 2 years, and you did not deliver on that promise. So Obamacare, right now, it is more popular than ever. Why should Americans trust you, if you become president, to fix that, or is Obamacare here to stay?
Well, first let me speak to the mass shootings issue, and then I'll answer that question. It's an important one, Dana. Look, I'm someone that believes that justice delayed is justice denied. And as a father of three, as a grandfather of three beautiful little girls, I am sick and tired of these mass shootings happening in the United States of America. And if I'm president of the United States, I'm going to go to the Congress of the United States, and we're going to pass a federal expedited death penalty for anyone involved in a mass shooting so that they will meet their fate in months, not years. It is unconscionable that the Parkland shooter, Ron, is actually going to spend the rest of his life behind bars in Florida. That's not justice. We have to mete out justice and send a message to these would-be killers that you are not going to live out your days behind bars. You're going to meet justice in this system.
But does that mean Obamacare is here to stay?
Well, thank you for reiterating the question, because I'd love to answer it. Look, I think it's one of the choices here. You know, my former running mate, Donald Trump, actually has a plan to start to consolidate more power in Washington, D.C., consolidate more power in the executive branch. If I'm president of the United States, it's my intention to make the federal government smaller by returning to the states those resources and programs that are rightfully theirs under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. That means all Obamacare funding, all housing funding, all HHS funding, all of it goes back to the states. We'll shut down the Federal Department of Education. Will allow states to innovate. We're going to revive federalism in America, and states are going to help bring America back.
But Stu, go ahead.
May I remind everyone to keep within their time frames?
So, guys, thank you. God bless everyone. If you're here, if you watched, if you're rewatching, whatever the case may be, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, though, because this debate is boring me to sleep, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that. So, you know, I wanted to cover it for the sake of it, but the first one was way better. At least there was some fire happening. At least, you know, there's a bit of like attacks. You know, there was some, you know, back and forth. But this one is absolutely the worst. And I don't like the moderators. So, yeah, I'm pretty much done. But, guys, let me know, what do y'all think about these retarded candidates? I mean, I'm going to go back and watch Donald Trump's speech at the auto workers strike thing or whatever later, and maybe I'll cover it, maybe I won't, I don't know. But